let's look at intimacy from a brain-based standpoint. In order to do that, take a moment and bring to mind someone you just deeply love, where maybe there's some interdependence, like, you know, you can't both have a baby and not have a baby, go on a vacation and fix the roof, you know, go out to a movie and stay home and veg, you know, where there's a little bit of push comes to shove right there, where we have to make some trade-offs. So those are the relationships that bring out all of our early circuits, great opportunities to rewire. And so let's focus on one of those. And there are 3 different possibilities in terms of the brain and what to do in each of them. So if you have someone in mind, let's get going. The first is, okay, here's you. Here they are, okay, thinking, emotional brain, thinking, you, them. Okay, great. First possibility, you're both connected. Great, okay? And we have a vagus nerve, a vagal brake, so that we can actually tolerate a fair amount of stress when we're in emotional connection, one emotional brain to the other, resonating. And to really know what's giving and receiving love, and at what point it's just too much, where we're giving and receiving love, not short of abandoning ourselves or short of taking abuse or neglect. So we can stay out of the stress response because of the vagal nerve and that capacity to move it up and get back into compassion, okay, and not get into a 4 or 5 state, okay? So this is an easy connection. So bring to mind with this person moments when you've had that easy connection. It's just, you know, going back and forth, 1, 2, 3, but staying the course, staying connected. You know, how I feel and what I need. How do you feel and what do you need? Separate but close, not merged or distant. Okay? Okay, so sooner or later, someone's going to get triggered. And of course, it's them. So they get triggered, and immediately what happens is something comes up. Maybe they had too much to drink. Maybe they were overeating and they got disconnected. Maybe you know, there was a phone call that was upsetting. There was a work deadline, something. But what happened is they're now disconnected. Now it's a very different playing field. At this point, because they're disconnected, they can't really see themselves. So it's not a reasonable expectation that they could see us. Their expectations are to be way too harsh or way too easy. They're going to have impossible demands if they merge with us and be needy and dependent and we can feel smothered. Or another possibility is, instead of that nice emotional pipeline between us, they put up a vault thick boundary and they take off. So they'll go one direction or the other. Okay? Now this is interesting. One of the things that can happen is we can catch their stress. Very common. So, you know, there is an emotional pipeline there. And if we're not able to hold on to ourselves, hold on to that sanctuary, feel our own separateness, our own authenticity, our own vibrancy, then we're just going to catch their stress, we're going to be disconnected, and then we're off to the races. And then the 4 and 5 circuits from a long time ago, or even from recently, take over and we play the same old tune. Except in this case, when both people are in stress, one of the most effective strategies is to lovingly separate. It's really critical. In other words, to say, hey, you know, I'm stressed. I love you. I don't want to treat you this way. I need to take a few minutes to myself. You know, go for a walk, get some fresh air. But I will be back. There's no point igniting their abandonment circuits, right? There are 4 circuits. So I'm coming back, and then when to come back to effectively repair, so that we just don't keep doing the same old circuits over and over again, to be able to say, you know, what I contributed to this was, to begin to change the dance. Okay, so that's one possibility, just, you know, saying, come on, we'll take a break. The other possibility is called a moment of opportunity. And you have these tools now. You have them in your back pocket. They're not easy to use, and as your brain state set point moves up, they'll be easier and easier to use, but you do have them. And you notice that you can pull them out at the most difficult moments, especially at the most difficult moments, and claw your way back into a state of connection, of even a little wisp of sanctuary. And in that state, when they're here, they're actually activated, and they're at 4 or 5. They can't see themselves. They can't find any compassion or love for themselves. If, in fact, you can find one little speck of loving compassion for them, and you're at brain state like 1 or 1 or 2, just for a flicker of a moment, you will say and do things that can change relationships, because their brain is very plastic in that moment. And even if it doesn't, you know what you've done. You've done your very best to be in integrity, connect with yourself, and be a loving presence for them. You've also strengthened your own connection to yourself, as well as your intimacy skills that you can use in the future to try to connect with them, and also increase your intimacy capacity with other people in your life. So those are the 3 options. Come in, easy connection, that moment when we know there's not a reasonable expectation that anything good is going to happen because both people are in stress, better to separate and come back and loving your pair. Or taking those moments of opportunity that feel like the worst possible moments and turning them into a moment that begins to change the magic in relationships, that loving connection.